Om Namo Narayani. Good morning, good evening to all who are joining us, wherever we are joining in from. Today is week 26 of Sri Lalitha Sahasranamam. We will be looking at 173 to 179 names. Om Namo Narayani. Let us begin with our prayers. Om Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shakti-amsāya dhīmahi Tanno Shakti-amma prachodayāt. Om Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shakti-amsāya dhīmahi Tanno Shakti-amma prachodayāt. Om Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shakti-amsāya dhīmahi Tanno Shakti-amma prachodayāt. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive sarva-artha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive sarva-artha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive sarva-artha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhyanam Sindhuraruna Vigraham Trinayanam Manikya-maulisphurattaranayaka Shekharam Smitamukhi Mapena Vakshuruham Panibhyam Alipurna Ratna Chashakam Raktotpalam Bibhratim Saumyam Ratna Ghatastha Rakta Charanam Dhyayet Paramambikam Dhyayet Padmasanastham Vikasita Vadanam Padmapatra Yatakshim Hemabham Pitavastram Karakalita Lasat Hema Padmam Varangim Sarvalankara Yuktam Satatam Abhayatam Bhaktanam Ram Bhavanim Shri Vidyam Santamurtim Sakala Suranutam Sarva Sampat Pradatrim Sakumkuma Vilepanam Alikachumbi Kasturikam Samanda Hasitekshanam Sachara Chapa Pasankusam Vasesha Janamohini Marunamalya Bhushojwalam Japa Kusuma Bhasuram Japa Vidhau Smaredambikam Arunam Karunatarangitakshim Dhrutapashankusha Pushpabana Chapam Animadhibhiravrutam Mayukhairahamityeva Vibhavaye Mahishim Namo Narayani. So our week 26 and her name, 173rd name of Sri Lalitha. Shri samśayaghnyai namah swaha. 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 Shri. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who effaces, who clears all doubts. Her previous name is nir-samśayai. She is without any doubts. She is that totality, that wisdom, that's Satchitananda, that totality, that all-pervasive everything. And there is no doubt that is possible to exist in her. Here, samśaya, the doubt, yajñai, it's like offering to the fire. She destroys, she clears all the doubts. For who? For her devotees. All those who are seeking. You can look at it from the materialistic perspective as well as the spiritual, and ultimately it is the spiritual that sustains the material as well when the wisdom dawns. And these doubts are when either the mind doesn't know, it's lacking knowledge, or it knows, but it is not sure if it is the right or the wrong, and that doubt comes. When you don't know, sometimes when there is no knowledge, then there is no doubt. It may not even arise at that point. But when there is this little knowledge, then the doubt can come up. And does she clear those doubts? When we go in seeking for her, it is not her job to come around clearing every doubt of everyone. But when we ask in that state of, to the divine, this state, this doubt, what should I do? What is happening? Is it right, wrong? Whatever the doubt is. In that state of that request, she can clear all the doubts. And for those in the spiritual realm who are seekers of the truth, the totality of the creation, the universe, the creator, those in that path, they say there are three, it is mentioned, there are three doubts that are like that are obstacles in the path. And when there is sincerity in the seeking, that sincerity opens up to receiving the answers, that clears the doubts. And these doubts are in the path, the three doubts are, one is, we have been like told, if this is what you're seeking, you do this, this, this in the path. And this can also be applied in the materialistic realm. If there is a teacher, someone teaching you, or you're getting trained doing something. One is self-doubt in the self. Can I do it? Am I capable of doing it? Is this for me? It is not for me. And do I deserve it? And do I qualify for it? This self-doubt can prevent progress. And then the master, the teacher who's there giving, do this, this, this. And then you start doubting the master, saying, does that person really know what she is saying? Do they really are qualified? Are they making a mistake? You start doubting and questioning the teacher, the master. And then the third is the technique. So where you doubt, question, is this the right way? I'm fine. I'm devoted to this teacher, the master, and I'm confident I can do it. I'm committed and I'm there, and I like the teacher there. But this process, this method, is this method the right method? Should it be a different method? Will it do what it is meant to do? So these three doubts are obstacles in progression. And these doubts, when can doubt arise? When there is lack of faith, when faith is not strong. And that faith, devotion, and sincerity is what grounds us, centers us to the core, that allows, if it's in the spiritual, for the divinity to flow through. If it is a material, again, for whatever is needed to fall into place, to draw in the right needs for that moment and whatever we are doing. And when there is lack of faith, doubt comes in. And when doubt comes in, it is a blockage in the progress. And she is samśayaghnyai. She clears, she destroys, the fire burns all these doubts, her grace, when we surrender. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, those seeking enlightenment, when they, with surrender, when they ask questions, in coming sincerely and doing service in whatever, in that seeking to the master, even if it is in the spiritual realm, it is the same application, that sincerity and commitment and doing the work that is needed, involved in the state of acceptance and surrender, that will take you to that ultimate, whatever is the seeking, for the enlightenment, to the source of that truth, that state of the divine that she is. So doubt and faith cannot exist together. When there is faith, there is no doubt. And when there is doubt, there can't be faith. And she clears all doubts. Her 174th name, Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Om Shri. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is not created. So that which is not created has no origin. There is no starting point for that. Bhavāyai. Bhavāyai is like creation. We saw in her earlier name, her 112th name, she is Bhavani. Om Shri Bhavanyai Namah Swaha. Bhavani, she creates, she is one with the Shiva. She, from her emanates the creation. She is the source of creation. She herself has no source for what created her. So she is eternal, ever present. So it's beyond the realm of time and space, that is always ever present. When we say always, already we are coming into the realm of time. She is beyond that. She is not created. She has no origin. So in that case, she doesn't have, she is without parents. She doesn't have anything that creates her, or there's no cause for her. And we saw those in other names. She's without cause. She doesn't have parents. She is the parent. She is the totality. And she is, even though she is Bhavani, she herself is nir-bhavāyai. She is without any cause for herself, without origin, no creation. She was not created because it is ever present. Her 175th name, Om Shri nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri nāśinyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shri nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who destroys that state of creation. Whenever there is creation, there is also its destruction. They go together. Who destroys this cycle of the creation and the breaking down, the cycle of births and deaths. This cycle is called samsara. Who destroys the samsara, the cycle of births and deaths. And what is the cycle of birth and death? It's just again the karma, the actions create karma, and the karma creates birth, and the birth creates more action. So this constant cycle of samsara in the creation, that all creatures are in the realm of, she can break that cycle, bhava nāśinyai. She can destroy it, clear it for her devotees. Those who are seeking it, who want to rise beyond this, being caught up in this web of constant birth, death cycle. Again, what does this involve? It is the mind getting caught up in so many various things, and one leads to another, to another, to another. And this constant cycle of living in the state of the mind, she can clear to rise beyond that bhava nāśinyai. And again in the Gita, it said, those who depend solely on the divine, those who worship the divine constantly, by renouncing all actions. That means it's not like not doing any action, doing the activities, but the fruit of that action is offering to the divine. And how is that possible? It is, like Amma says, it is that acceptance. That acceptance comes with surrender. They go together hand in hand. When you surrender to the divine, then whatever happens, you accept it like it is from the divine. In that state of surrender, in that state of acceptance, and always constantly meditating on the divine, connected with the divine, single-mindedly, that this absorbs, this clears this samsara, the cycle of births and deaths. So she becomes the bhava nāśinyai when you surrender to her with that love, devotion, and that acceptance. Then she, through her grace, can destroy this cycle of samsara, of constant creation, sustenance, and then dissolution. This is the three aspects that happens in creation: creation, sustenance, and then dissolution. Creation, sustenance, dissolution. The whole creation is in this law of creation, sustenance, and the dissolution. And to go beyond that, she graces you with us bhava nāśinyai, to go beyond this state of bhava. Her 176th name. Om Shri nir-vikalpāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-vikalpāyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shri nir-vikalpāyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shri nir-vikalpāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-vikalpāyai namah swaha. Om Shri. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is not of anything created by the mind, as she is pure consciousness. So some of us may have heard of nir-vikalpa samadhi. In the state of meditation and in that state of stillness, this is a state that takes you into the state of samadhi, and she is again, she's always in that, this nir-vikalpāyai. Vikalpa is where the mind comes up with all these ideas, thoughts, and once the thoughts, ideas come, creation has already started. And then it follows in the next names as well. So vikalpa is that. Nir-vikalpa is beyond all these states of the mind. And in the nir-vikalpa samadhi, there is no discrimination, no difference. There is that oneness that is identified with everything. And in the progress of in people who go into deep meditation, there is a state where they lose the body consciousness, even the eye consciousness, the mind consciousness. In that state, that existence becomes one with the totality of existence, is nir-vikalpa state. She is that you become one with her when that nir-vikalpa samadhi state is graced by her, and she is always in that state of nir-vikalpa. And there is another in the state of meditation, not just meditation, in the devotee, in the spiritual aspirant, as you get closer and closer to the divine, as you come closer to that state of merger, to that state of oneness, then there is no I differentiation in nir-vikalpa. There is a state before that is a savikalpa, where the I is a witness to all that is. And so even that is clear. There is no witness state even in the nir-vikalpa. There is no I, there is no me. It is just, there is just that oneness of everything. And there is no discrimination between subject, object. None of these differences are there. So she is nir-vikalpa. Her 177th name, Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Salutations to Sri Lalitha. Om Shri. She who is undisturbed. Abhadi is the disturbed state. Nir-bhavāyai. So she is without any disturbance. We saw in her earlier name, 138, Nirakula. She is without any agitation. So these disturbances, agitations, they again reflect the state of the mind. And the mind goes through all these, the doubts, the agitations, all the disturbances, everything is all happening at the mind level. And she is not of the mind. So she is totally undisturbed by everything that is happening around. She creates it. It is a Leela, the whole of creation, main sustenance and the dissolution, all that keep happening in creation, but she is, they are of her, but she is not of them. She is undisturbed by all of this. And there is, when the description of the divine comes, you might have heard of Characharam, Anda Characharam. Anda is the whole universe, the cosmos. Literally it means egg, and it's describing the whole universe. Anda Characharam, all that is moving and non-moving, that is the animate, inanimate, everything is in her creation. So once creation happens, there is movement and everything. But in her nir-bhavāyai state, there is no movement. There is just stillness. There is no disturbance. And this reminds me of, you might have heard of this lake called Manasarovar. It's a very famous, well-known pilgrimage site for Hindus and also for Buddhists. So it is in the Himalayas, close to Mount Kailash. And this lake, Manasarovar, Sarovar is the lake. Manasarovar, Mana again, Manas, it is, the mind is going there. And this lake is supposed to be very pure, still. It is said that the divine beings come there to bathe during the Brahma Muhurtam, that is in the early morning hours at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. that time. And this lake is so still in pristine beauty and so clear. And a lake, and it doesn't freeze in winter, whereas a lake just few miles, kilometers away, Rakshasarovar, that freezes. This one doesn't freeze. And this Manasarovar represents allegorically, it represents the mind as that still lake without any disturbance, ripples, that stillness. And when mind comes to that still state, then it is ready to drop and go to the samadhi state, the nir-vikalpa state. And she is totally in that state, in her totality of that existence. A lot more can be said on Manasarovar, but the Manasarovar allegorically represents the mind in each one of us to bring that stillness in that lake of the mind. And all the practices, the devotion, the meditation, the yoga, all the practices we do, so many different things are coming up, is that peace and that stillness of the mind. So it is fresh every moment to see what is coming and be fully in that presence, in that moment, for life to flow through. Otherwise, in a disturbed state, it cannot flow through life. There is so much turbulences. And she is in that state who's undisturbed, that stillness. Her 178th name, Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. 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 Om Shri. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is beyond all differences. Bhedam is difference. And again, it comes into the realm of the mind. Right, wrong, good, bad. Mind is always trying to sort things out, judge it, assess it, categorize it, compartmentalize things. And all these are activities of the mind. And she is without any of these activities. She is beyond all the differences the mind comes up with. So is that bad to have a right, wrong, good, bad, all these differentiations, categorizations? It is needed in the path of life. It is as an aspect of life. All of us need it, go through it, that discriminative power. And in fact, there is also sloka that we say, which is again very popular. Annapurne Sadhapurne Shankara Prana Vallabhe Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartam Bhiksham Dehi Cha. Ğa reem, Parvati. So here, even the food, Annapurne Sadhapurne, she is that food, the totality. She's always Sadhapurne, she is always that fullness. Shankara Prana Vallabhe, you're the very breath, life of Shankara, Shiva. Jnana Vairagyam, so that wisdom is jnana, Vairagyam is like making a determination, like having that stronghold, discrimination, and the ability to say, this is what I'll do, that's taking a stand on this. So these are all, we are praying to her to give me that wisdom, that discrimination from which I can sift the good from the bad and hold on to the good, which we said, from the tamas to the rajas to the sattva. This is a transformation that keeps happening. And at the sattva, it's all purity. And she is nir-bhavāyai, she's beyond these states. But in the creation, for those in the aspect caught in the web of creation life, to evolve, that evolution is like getting purer and purer. And in that process, you need the mind to discriminate. You need the wisdom to know what to take, what to leave. And again, this brings us to the swan. And the Gayatri for swan is Hamsa Hamsaya Vidmahe Paramahamsaya Dhimahi Tanno Hamsa Prachodayat. And Hamsa is swan, and swan is the vehicle, like each divine has the vehicle, the Gayatri, the mantra. The swan is what Mahasaraswati's, it's her vehicle, and she is the purity of that wisdom, that knowledge. And the Hamsa is that which can separate. If there is milk and water added, it can take the milk and ignore the water. So it can take out the good. So that discriminative power, that wisdom, so crucial, needed in life. And yet she is beyond all that. What does it mean? It's like the mind is a tool. It is like a ladder that helps us to climb, but to reach the goal, it is not the tool. That doesn't become the goal itself. The mind is a ladder. The ladder doesn't become the goal by itself. It helps us to reach the destination. We are grateful for it, but we don't just say that itself is the destination. But she helps us. She is beyond all these discriminations and differences. And for the seeker, we will see in her 179th name, Om Shri Nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri Nāśinyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shri Nāśinyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shri Nāśinyai namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Shri Bhedanāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri Bhedanāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who destroys the sense of differences in the minds of devotees. Bheda, it is like, Bhedam is like splitting, the debate, argument, pros and cons, all this is Bhedam. It is like finding what is right, wrong, comparisons, all compare, contrast, all this are under the realm of Bhedam. And she nāśinyai, Bheda nāśinyai. Why would she clear that? It has finished its purpose. It is taken when it is needed for living the life in a day-to-day interactions with the world, of the world. It is needed, it is a tool, it is important. But to go to that state of that stillness, of that purity, that godliness, to become one with her, she can bring you to that same state that she is in. So she, Veda Nashini, she clears the mind always churning this, that. It is constantly judging, gathering information, and the mind is constantly working. And when she can still that, nir-bhavāyai, she is nir-bhavāyai, then it goes into an undisturbed state. Without thoughts, when the mind comes into an undisturbed state, it goes into a state of stillness. And in that state of stillness, it is ready to become one with that totality. So the I, self-identity is lost. This merges with the entire creation. She can take you to the nir-vikalpa state that she is. And to the seeker, to her devotees, she takes her right to her state. And there is somewhere it was mentioned that when Shiva comes to see the consort, even this is all again of the mind realm, because once you go into that state, there is no Shiva, Shakti, this differentiation, there's just oneness. He says so many Lalitas, he doesn't know which is the original one. So all the devotees, seekers have all merged in to become one with her, and they are identical as the other. He's not able to differentiate which is the original, because the original has taken all those who came to her to become like her, and they've all become the same. It is that oneness. And there is no difference between her and devotees when the devotees merge into her state, and she showers her grace to bring all her devotees to become one with her into that state of that grace and that totality and that purnatvam. Everything is that. And we've been seeing her names in these weeks where she's in the Brahman state, the unqualified totality. We described her physical forms, the names described her, then her different Shaktis, and we'll be seeing more of those, and how she came to destroy Bandasura, and how all these, she has the army, she has all the Devis, Yoginis, everyone there, her retinue in that fight, war, and yet she is in that Brahman state always of that unqualified oneness with everything. And even in many of the scriptures, and we see the divine comes to destroy the bad. And there are these asuras, these asuric states of the mind. It is a great blessing for an asura to be destroyed by the divine, because when the divine destroys, they become one with the divine. And again, there is a story where in the 10 incarnations in Vishnu, there are these two sentinels, the doorkeepers where Vishnu is resting. One of the sages comes to see, and they stop him saying, he's resting, please wait. And he says, do you know who I am? How dare you stop me? He brushes them aside, he goes in. And he goes and complains to Vishnu saying, your sentinels don't even know who I am. So his madam has gone up. So that ego is there so much. I'm such a great rishi, and how dare they stop me? And Vishnu in his, is again that totalitist, says when someone like that complains, you have to punish them. So he says, okay, what punishment? He says to the two sentinels, because you were disrespectful to someone of that caliber, you need reprimand for that. For that, you will be born on earth. And earth is we also hear that earth is a great blessing, because this is karma bhumi, where we can evolve to grow faster than in any other worlds. And the time scale here is much faster in many other places, and others cannot burn their bad karma and create good karma as the possibility is there on earth. And they are given this option. Either you can have 100 births, you can incarnate 100 lives, and you will be my devotee in all 100 lives praying to me, or you can be my devotee for 3 lifetimes, but in all the 3 lifetimes, you will be hating the divine. And their love for the divine was so much, they said, we'll take the 3 births because we can't be separated from you for 100 births. We want to come back sooner to you for the mistake we made. We want to come faster. And their devotion, their mind rose beyond, that love was so intense, it rose beyond the Vedam of the good and bad. I have to be bad to you for 3 lifetimes and it'll bring me faster to you. I prefer that than spending 100 lifetimes thinking of you and praying to you. And so they come in the form of asuras. Different asuras are born, and Vishnu destroys them. And at the end of each one of them, they go back to Vishnu faster. And there are many subtleties interwoven in this. One is they've risen, their devotion is that pure, they don't discriminate anymore between good and bad. And the asuras that are slain by the divine are very, what shall we say, it's great benevolence for them. It's a great treasure to be destroyed by the divine, because the divine only gives the best, and when the divine destroys, they become one with the divine. It is actually a boon, in fact, and the asuras, even though they have the power in the negative way that it works, that energy, just a little twist in it, become good energy. So all these good and bad are just going straight and twists in this. And getting untwisted into the right straight flow is all that it takes. And these asuras, again, are part of the totality of the creation. The divine does not discriminate between, like we saw when the divine can discriminate when the devas pray, the divine incarnates Daivatam, Rakshasam. So even the asuras pray to the divine, and the divine gives them boons, and divine incarnates for them also. So in each realm, the divine incarnates. The divine is so impartial There is no discrimination in that nir-vikalpa state, and all that connects is the devotion here. And we saw the Vishnus, the 10 incarnations that are so beautifully explained in each of the asura and the thing, they all manifested from her fingernails. During the Bandasura thing, when he kept coming up with something, and then she destroyed them by creating Vishnus to counter Bandasura's different tactics and strategies he was doing. And this cycle of this samsara of creations, sustenance, dissolution goes on for aeons. It is in its nature. And to rise beyond the state is what the enlightened masters have reached. And they ask those who are interested, come join this, even though this cycle goes on. You don't have to be caught in it with total unawareness. You become enlightened, then it is a game of play for you. It doesn't touch you. Then you can become like the lotus leaf. You are in the water, but the water doesn't soak you. They become droplets on it, untouched by that water, even though it's immersed in the water. So that's what the state of the enlightenment, the nir-vikalpa state, nir-vedha state, all these blessings that she clears the bhava-nāśinyai, she is vedha-nāśinyai, she clears all these, she is taking you to that state where this samsara, all these activities don't control you, but you are in the flow and you witness all this. You participate in it, but you're totally immersed in with her in that state of that bliss and peace and joy. And what a great blessing to be in that state with her. Shall we chant together all her names for this week? We'll do 3 rounds of each name. Om Shri samśayaghnyai namah swaha. Om Shri samśayaghnyai namah swaha. Om Shri samśayaghnyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai namah swaha. Om Shri bhava-nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri bhava-nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri bhava-nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-vikalpāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-vikalpāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-vikalpāyai namah swaha. Om Shri nir-bhavāyai 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 namah swaha. Om Shri nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Shri nāśinyai namah swaha. Om Namo Narayani. Let us offer our chants, our prayers to Sri Lalitha Vayagam, and pray to her to bless all of us and all the beings in all the worlds, to shower her grace, her blessings on all of us. Om Namo Narayani. Are there any questions? Can we end the recording, Bhagya? If there are no questions.